The Education Secretary left Downing Street with a wave, but offered no comment on what was decided during a key meeting with the Prime Minister. For now, the government insists its plan for a staggered return for secondary school pupils remains unchanged.
Teachers and head teachers have been working incredibly hard, over the Christmas period since schools broke up, in order to prepare for a new testing regime, community testing, in order to make sure that children and all of us are safer. So we do keep things under review, but that is the plan.
Under current plans, primary school pupils in England will return as normal, while the majority of secondary school pupils will be taught remotely as mass testing plans are put in place. But with concerns growing that the new variant of COVID-19 has changed the balance of risks, one of the largest teaching unions is calling for a rethink.
Delaying the start date for schools is only one of a number of options that the government needs to be considering. But so far, we're not hearing any options from the government. Events have overtaken us, they've overtaken the government, and we're saying that the government now needs to catch up with that and actually bring that clarity to bear.
With a week to go before the start of the new term, the government is under pressure to announce any changes as quickly as possible.
Boris Johnson has previously said that keeping schools open is a national priority, and back in the summer, that position received the endorsement of the Chief Medical Officer, who said many more children were likely to come to harm by not going to school than going to school, even in the midst of a pandemic. But the big question that remains unanswered by the government is whether that assessment remains the position of its scientific advisers.
Labour say that even if the plan remains the same, ministers need to be open about the advice being presented to them.
It's absolutely vital that the government today makes that scientific advice publicly available and that the Prime Minister and his scientific advisers come and make the position clear to parents and to school staff, because this kind of rumour and innuendo is just really, really worrying for everyone.
In West London this afternoon, that worry was evident.
It's really hard. I'm a full-time working mum, as is my husband works full-time, so I love them, but I don't want them home.
And it's important that just the right decision is made for public health reasons. But obviously, we prefer to have the kids at school, and we think that's important for their development.
That's the concern of the chairman of the Education Select Committee, who's urged the government to recognise the long-term impact school closures could have.
There are two risks. There's a risk of COVID, which you have to do everything to try and protect people from. But also there is a risk of establishing an epidemic of educational poverty, making it endemic in our country.
As head teachers in England prepare for the start of term next week, they will be doing so against a backdrop of growing uncertainty over what kind of schooling they're preparing for. Tom Rayner, Sky News, Westminster.